welcome back to Comedic Mines. My name is Valentine.
And I'm Ivana.
Hey, Ivana got the new hairdo. It's blue. Is it blue? Right?
Yeah, we blue today.
Yes, I like it. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute.
Thank you.
Listen, vote. Tonight is all about voting and the election and all of the above. We have two special guests tonight. They'll be coming on at 8:15. That is Serria, Rego, and Aisha, Braveboy. Don't you love that name, Braveboy?
Yes.
I wonder if that's
they both got some solid names.
Native American background or something. I don't know. I'm going to ask them.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say you ask.
Braveboy, I don't know. But yes, we have those two wonderful African-American females, educated and well-versed in the subject matter that we'll be discussing tonight. Of course, like as usual, 8 to 8:15 is Crucial Topics.
Yes.
And we are talking all about elections and voting and everything.
All of it.
All of it tonight. Tonight we're really going in with all. But listen, vote. You must vote. I told a story last week that I made a video for Instagram and they wouldn't let me promote it for voting. Yeah, haters. But yeah.
That's so weird.
Stay energized and vote. I voted 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I think if you have not about 2 or 3 weeks ago,
okay.
I was excited. I've been waiting. My mind was made up in 2016. January 21st.
Okay.
No, November 3rd, 2015.
Okay.
Was it 16? November. Yeah. Right after he was elected, he won. I was like, oh, I'm not voting.
That was a sad day. But I do understand that now we have some battleground states, similar to like basically swing states. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is it? Texas, Georgia.
I'm very surprised about Texas. As a Texan, I'm surprised to hear that Texas is a swing state. I'm not even gonna lie. But some people are saying that Texas is all. So I've seen some people saying, "Well, Texas has been a blue state. It's just the electoral college is what makes it red." But I'm like, well, if you have the electoral college, then it's a red state. Period.
Well, no. If enough people vote for blue, for Democrats, and they vote in the electoral college has to go that way, supposedly.
But they don't. It's Texas though. That's why I'm like that. But that's also, I say that to say that's also why a lot of Southern people, especially Black Southern people, we feel like our votes don't count when we vote in the South because we vote like down ballot, just straight up Democratic. But it's a red state, so here comes the Electoral College, basically just blow that shit out the water. And here we are, just as a whole, as Texans, basically just voting for whatever Republican candidate is up.
I'm gonna look that up. I don't think because normally. Well, they can take their electoral college and go a different way from which the voters of that state went. So if they did vote majority for a Democrat, I think that the electoral college does have a right then not have a right, but they can go Republican anyway.
Yeah, they can override that.
But I don't think that's what's been happening. I think it's just that a lot of Democrats have not been voting like in large numbers. I think, and then I mean they do have obstacles. I mean, you have all types of voter, suppression laws. Truly,
and
all those different things.
And then people who are formerly incarcerated, they don't even have the right to vote either. So that also plays a role in as well. I've been I'm not even gonna lie, I've been mostly looking at COVID cases and numbers and stuff. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at the election polls for California and Texas, so I can see what we're up against. I'm gonna do that tonight.
What do you think about? All right, so one of the crucial topics and that we want to discuss was Obama campaigning with Biden. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I
have my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're also friends. So, I'm not surprised. It is what it is. But I do know that Biden is not going to be able to reach the audience in the way that Barack was able to, because the way that Barack used social media to reach out to us, especially as young folks, was unlike any other presidential candidate ever did before and has never done after him either. Mm-hmm. So Biden just doesn't have that, type of hold that I think Obama had. Biden could learn some things, but I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I agree with you. I just think for me, what made it to me a bad thing for Biden was that the vivacious youth of Barack, even though he's older, he's still very youthful.
True.
Just made him look old and crusty, like for example.
Well, Biden has always looked old next to Barack.
Yeah, he looks. I mean, put some makeup on him. Donald Trump got golden skin and hair pieces. Yo, do something. One time I saw him on the Biden at the mic, I was like, could somebody fix him up?
There's a
Like
20-something
he
year
need to
age
fix
difference.
this up. Like get a little hippie, like fix it up.
Child.
Looks is, I mean, your presentation is a big part of it, you know, because it's all about perception.
It
But that's
is.
how I felt. But even though I think people are still going to vote for him. But one of the things that I felt made him, I don't know, I just felt like, oh, I kind of wanted to pull Barack aside and be like, yo, calm down. Like you stealing the show, you don't realize it. Cause I mean, you just that
Oh.
because so it's
Yeah.
it's something they keep playing over and over and over again on TV. Is it was just a very candid, having fun moment, and they were in the gym and he shot the shot from like the 3
Biden could never.
Biden was there. Biden was there, and he shot it. And he was like, "That's how I do." I mean, he was. That's regular around the way stuff to me. Like I'm like that to me. I was like, "Oh, I know him."
Yeah,
you know?
right.
But as he walked, the camera panned by Biden. He was all wrapped up and walking by him. He looked like an old, decrepit white man. I was like, oh my God, like Barack. Like we know. I felt like in that moment, Barack was just having fun and feeling himself. But I wanted to pull him aside, Barack. Control, like you need to. You can't be flossing. Like in that moment, you are really stealing the shine and making him look like an old centerpiece. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to say, yo, Barack. And he like, that's how I do. Like control yourself. Like you are stealing the show. Biden is right there and make him look insignificant. That's what I wanted to say. Like, yo, control yourself. Like, hello. The cameras is on. I mean, be mindful not to overshine the person that you are trying to. You're supposed to be there to boost him up. You know what I'm saying? Like if I may be more talented than you, quote unquote. Like say, like I've been in singing groups all the time. Like growing up, I could really sing. But if I'm there to sing background, I'm there to sing background. Not be heard above the artist. I'm like, he or she is taking forever to hit this note. And I'm like, oh my God, could I just do it for him, please? And then you could just put it in the mix and
Right. Let me just do it for them.
Nobody has to know.
I feel
but
that
no,
too.
you play your position and you support them. And I got really irritated because they kept playing it over and over again. And I was like, oh, Barack.
I see it all the time. I'll be on
down.
social media and I'm like, oh, yep, there it is again. Oh, there it is again.
I mean, I thought it was a shining moment. I was like, yeah, that's how we do. And I don't even play basketball. Okay?
I know, right?
But I was like, oh my God, you making him look so old. And,
well, I think too, it's also making people I think people miss Obama so much. So like when they see that, it's also just like, oh, Obama, we miss you. And then it also reminds people like, okay, what we see in Obama, we're not going to get that in Biden. So I think that also makes it discouraging as well. Like,
so my own personal little, I mean, before I go into the next crucial topic, my own personal little wish is that Biden and Kamala get into office, and they just start recruiting everybody from Barack's team
that would be the smart thing to do, right?
Just recruit like I need all y'all in here. I need old heads because I'm sure that Donald Trump
from
and
Barack's
his
team and
administration are
Elizabeth
going to
Warren's
plunder
team
and pillage and take, and they ain't leaving nothing behind. They're going to destroy any evidence because they know they was doing illegal stuff anyway. So they're not passing no information on. But we need some old heads in here to get things together to, not trying to figure it out. They know what it's supposed to be and can get it back on track.
I agree. And I also think that if they really want to tackle student loan debt, I think they should absolutely create a position for Elizabeth Warren and bring some of her team in as well, because I don't think Kamala or Joe really has a plan for how to get us young people out of this crippling student loan debt. If you really want to improve the economy, but you're also complaining that we're not spending money. We don't got no money to spend. We're spending it on our loan debt. So I definitely think that would be something that they should also implement as well, for sure.
I know there's a longer name, but I know it's an oversight committee, and I think that she should definitely be over it.
Is it financial committee though?
Warren, yeah. I think she definitely need to put her over it.
She's good
and
when it
I will
comes to
put her
finances.
and just he should. I mean, I think that he has the wisdom and the knowledge to put people in a place that he trusts and keep and move on.
Yeah, true.
Because we got too many issues to tackle.
I feel like Biden could actually fill a cabinet. Trump has never done that. He never has all his people, and as soon as he brings somebody on, he fires them or they leave, and then they're in court. Like, damn, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
What's really even more challenging is that not only does he have to fill vacant positions, but he has to get rid of the fruit from the poisonous tree. So all of the 200 and something judges that Mitch McConnell put in there, they need to review them. And I don't care how I would get rid of the ones that that are not qualified for that position. They just got in there because they needed somebody with those same political and ideological state of mind that they wanted to have in it. Oh, you in?
I agree.
You know, like if you don't qualify, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't meet the qualifications we reviewing.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really. Wow. I was watching Bill Maher. And it was a young lady on Bill I forgot the show, but it Bill Maher show on Friday night, and it wasn't. So I love the way I think she said Supreme Court justice reform. I forgot the whole thing, how she said, instead of saying court packing, you know, what I'm referring to with court packing, it was another way she said reform and realignment or something like that. And I like that better because court packing does have a negative connotation that attached to it when saying that the notion to add more Supreme Court justices because we have now a majority of conservative judges and ones that we know are very biased.
Yes.
And so, and being afraid of losing a lot of institutional laws that we fought and a lot of people fought and died for to just lose it like that.
Yeah.
Just imagine the trouble you have to get through to get it back, to try to get them back. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm like, I do what we need to do. Like, I don't care. Like, we put some more first day.
Yeah.
If we have, I feel like we're going to have to, they're going to have to walk and chew gum and play handball at the same time.
Yes.
Because
they do have a lot of
too
catching
many things
up to
to
do.
fix.
Yeah.
You know, and dealing with the pandemic on top of that.
Hello.
You know? So it's like, it's too many things to fix. And you ain't got time to be arguing with them and playing no games. If we have control of the House and the Senate and the White House, get to it. It don't matter what they say. It don't matter what they try to get to it. Just like they got to it with Amy Coney Barrett.
Yes.
The Wicked Witch of the
quick
South.
As hell.
She's the Wicked Witch of the South. They got the Wicked Witch of the East, the Wicked Witch of the West, and that's the Wicked Witch of the South. Actually, Jacinta Corso, the lady from what's the show? The Handmaid's Tale. The lady that started it all.
Yes.
But at any rate, I'm like, no, we need to.
And I remember before the show, because like we were talking about, you know, they always are concerned with the president's first 100 days. You were talking about the first 100 hours. You were like, I need to see what you do in the first 100 hours.
Get it together.
Like, it's going to be pandemic relief. It's also going to be racial justice and trying to figure out some shit about that too. And then like student loan debt, this economy, and like it's just so much all at once. It's like y'all have so much to tackle like right now.
A lot.
Yeah.
And there's some scenarios I'm saving for Aisha and Serria.
Okay.
But to touch a little bit more on that, like why should I vote when why should I continue voting to be in second and third place? I'm tired of that shit. I'm not voting. I'm tired of voting for second and third place. Y'all work it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm for tearing this down. Let's get it started. I can't wait for civil war or / revolution because I'm tired of a vote for second and third place. There's a lot of people. I mean, those are things that run through my mind. Yes, I did vote, of course.
That was in my mind when I was pressing the buttons.
A lot of people think that way. They're like, I don't care. A lot of people want to vote for, a lot of people who normally, of course, would not vote for Donald Trump, either not voting or will vote for Donald Trump because they're like, you know what, let's tear this shit down.
Yeah.
No matter what, it seems like it's all to keep the status quo for middle-class white people and other minorities, but blacks are staying at the bottom of the totem pole. We can never seem to get the police off our back. No real reform, no this, no that. So let's tear it all down.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw up a few scenarios on why people say why they shouldn't vote or they not. Or disheartened against voting.
By now, I've had so many conversations with like.
We got 1 minute,
and
I want to do an introduction.
Let's do it
for both Serria and Aisha Braveboy. So our guests are Serria Rego and Aisha Braveboy. Serria Rego, a Chicago, Illinois native, grew up understanding that hard work didn't lead to wealth. She chose finance as a major when confronted with the expense of medical school. Medical school, you went to medical school. Mm-hmm. She simply wanted to work where there was unlimited financial opportunity. Serria considers herself to be lucky to not only have the finance degree, but also to have worked for several different firms. Her views were also shaped by her 7 years as a domestic and international model. Girl, we tweaking. You did a lot. With clients such as Tommy Hilfiger. I got a Hilfiger sweater on today. Guess, YSL, and Yahoo. Now, as an advocate for Black lives matter and justice. She realizes that finance is much more than money. Let's give a warm welcome for Serria Rego. And now I'm going to give a introduction for Aisha Braveboy. I just want to get it out the way because they're both coming on at the same time. I'm getting hot now in these lights with this question. Aisha Braveboy is the state's attorney for Prince George's County, making her the top law enforcement officer for over 900,000 citizens and residents. Her commitment is to bring change to the way individuals and cases are handled while ensuring that justice is served fairly, particularly in Black communities. Aisha believes that voting is an exercise of power. You must recognize, protect, demand, and fight for your power. Let's welcome Serria and Aisha to the show. Welcome to Comedic Minds. I hope that wasn't too long-winded, wasn't it?
No, that was a very good introduction.
Serria? Oh.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Serria, hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. You look beautiful tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. My husband always asks me where I'm going every day. I'm like, downstairs.
Online.
You trying to
Online, exactly.
I heard that. So that's good. You keeping things up and lively, even though you know we can't really hang out but so much because of COVID.
Yeah, but I relate too, because anytime I have something online, I'm doing a full beat face because I'm like, this is my chance. I totally get it.
So I know, Serria, I know you really champion business and finance and helping the African American or African community as a whole, or people of color, learn more about their finances and how to get their business in order. As far as not just, I mean, all aspects of finances, I would guess, right? So not only your savings, but why you should have a will and things like that. Am I correct?
Ooh-wee.
Serria?
Oh, is
And
Miss Serria still there?
Are we having technical difficulties?
She's still with us.
We can see you, but we can't hear you, Serria.
I didn't say anything. What happened? Is it my okay, let me
fine.
get off my Wi-Fi. Give me 1 second. Is it my Wi-Fi?
Oh,
She
you're
said
fine.
you're fine.
We
You're
were
fine.
asking a question. We thought you went away. I was like, where'd she go?
It said that I was put on hold, and I'm like, what is that?
Ooh.
I don't know.
That's okay. So I was saying, I know that you champion for people of color, in particular African Americans or Africans. You champion financial wealth and knowledge, and teaching them on how to better position themselves in this world and in society, financial, even from something as simple as how to, I guess, properly save and budget, to even why you should have a will. Correct?
Yes, and it's even taking it a little step farther. So
Okay.
I'm a little more inclusive than that.
Okay.
Because I think back in the day before George Floyd's murder on live for everybody to see, I think before that I thought, money was everything. We all gotta understand about money. And then once that happened, I realized that it's not money, it's everything. We need to understand voting, we need to understand politics. We need to understand the medical industry, because a lot of women are dying during childbirth. We need to understand our mental health from the trauma, the racial trauma that we experience. We need to understand the environment and how that plays into it. Like, it's all of it. So I created a series with my team where we have these experts, because as much as I love Lil Wayne and 50 Cent, they're not the experts, right?
No.
So it's like at a certain point, there's so much Black excellence that we really need to just tap into it. So that's where the Black Wealth Matters and Educational series came from.
Okay. So, what are some of the? I would like to dive just a little bit further into that and what you just talked about before we get Aisha on the line and we really start talking.
Yeah.
Start tying.
Aisha's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Just a little bit about. So, what would you tell me as someone like me as a young well, I don't know about how young, but I'm young.
You are young.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Bless your heart.
Yes.
Entrepreneur who has a business. I have a production company. And what are some of the basics that a young entrepreneur should know starting out the gate, or should be finding out? How can what would I even know to find out? Like myself, I just happen to. I mean, I have a business degree, so I had some type of standing on what I need to.
Education.
Yeah, education
Yeah.
on what I should be, what I
Yeah, but
should
there's
and should
always a
not be
space to
having.
learn more, right?
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of entrepreneurs. They don't have business degrees. They just out there
Child,
doing it.
just out
And there's just
here.
certain things that I'll say, "Oh, did you copyright? Did you
Right,
get your
right.
name?
Did you publish
Yeah.
that?
Did you buy the website? I mean,
Uh-huh.
did you do this? And they'll be like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Oh, you need to go do that." You know. So
I'm laughing at the way she said out there. I remember when we were in undergrad, people used to say out there, and it meant a girl or a guy that was too out there. The way you just said it was like that. And I'm like,
Just out here, yeah.
yeah. No, you know what? Honestly, Valentine, I would say I would take it just a little, I would take it one step further and say intention is everything, because right now you got to remember,
Serria,
as Black people, we're so far
ask her to
behind
put
the
Serria.
8 ball that if you are doing well, then you need to do better, right? And right now, I think the middle class holds a lot of power that we're not wielding, because I think that low key, we've gotten kind of a little bit lazy. We started just having a 8-year vacation with Obama as president, and we were just kind of
Mm-hmm.
chilling. And we realize now that, you know what, we shouldn't be chilling. We should really be supporting the kids that are marching. We really need to be putting our money where our mouth is. We need to be supporting Black-owned businesses. So I would say, if the first thing is to really create the attention of creating some financial independence. Like if you're making 100,000, set your intentions on making 300,000 or 500,000, and sit down with your advisor and have an advisor. It's never too early or too late to get an advisor. Try to find somebody who thinks like you as much as you can, or try to find somebody who um, encourages you to think outside the box. So, because it's almost like your coach, it's almost like a marriage, a partnership.
Okay.
Mm.
So I saw there's a I think it's, I don't know if it's on Hulu or Netflix, probably Netflix, but do you know who Killer Mike is? Killer Mike has
Yeah, my husband's in the music industry. Hmm.
oh, okay, I was too. So yeah, Killer Mike, he had uh a series on, I think it's Netflix. And I wanted pretty much his series was about supporting Black businesses, and then different things like that. But he was trying to go, I think, a week or so, and if it wasn't Black owned or anything like that, he couldn't eat the food if it didn't come from a Black owned like
I saw
farm.
that.
Did you see that? And he was
He
like
almost starved to
he
death.
did. He struggled. I felt bad for his struggle, but at the same time, I felt like embarrassed as a Black person, as a Black man. Like I
Mm.
consider myself educated, and I'm like, wow, like at the root of it all, like what do we really own? You know, like
Child.
But
we.
you got to remember, you guys, we've been that's been beat out of us. That's been
Truly.
lynched out of us. You got So after Reconstruction, I've
Hmm.
become such a little nerd after George Floyd. I was like, let me understand what's happening.
Yeah, Reconstruction.
um, and yeah, after slavery was over during Reconstruction,
Yep.
we didn't have a choice. We had to become business owners, and also we were around so much. We were around slave owners, and they were the most successful. So some of us started picking up what they knew. And when
Mm.
slavery was ended, the intention was for the uh, poor whites to take those jobs that we had as slaves and to make a living. But they didn't necessarily take them, and we started doing really well. And what happened was we had Congress making laws against us, but we also had the boots on the ground lynching us
Hmm.
and doing fire lynchings and all that. And I think subconsciously what happened as a result of that is we didn't want to stick our neck out. And our parents wouldn't let us stick our neck out, because as
Hmm.
Obama wrote in his book, The Audacity of Hope, 95% of the lynchings that occurred were business owners,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I think it kind of quieted our yell. It quieted our ambition. We were door to door salesmen. Very
Hmm.
few
Hmm.
people like selling now. You know,
Yeah.
I think it just really. I think that was the effect. We became very, like, we didn't want to stand out too much. We didn't want to. We didn't want to get too much attention. And before we forget, the website that you have to register for the series, which is free, if you don't mind me
No, I
sharing it
don't,
real
of
quick
course.
before Aisha
Go ahead.
jumps in, is BWM, like Black Wealth Matters, BWMeducationalseries.com. So BWM, Black Wealth Matters, educationalseries.com. So it's long, but BWMeducationalseries.com.
Mm-hmm.
But the classes are free. Register. It's going to be right on Thursday after election, so we'll either be happy or whatever else we're going to be.
And your classes for all ages, or what is specifically the demographic for your classes?
The demographic is, I say, the BLM crowd and the supporters and allies.
Okay.
So let me ask. I know from the music industry, when I was in the music industry, even going to school at Morehouse and Clark Atlanta and Atlanta, I used to intern at, Lord have mercy, I forget the name, but it was I know that his clients was Usher and a couple of people. He was a business manager, a black man, and I interned with him for a while, and that's when I learned about like, oh, they hire somebody to handle all the finances and file the taxes and do all these different things.
Invoices,
and I
all that,
learned
yeah.
and I learned about I think I'm telling people business, gotta be careful. But I learned, let's just say I learned about power attorney, and you need to sign your own checks and make sure that you don't just give complete total control over to anyone. But you that you want someone to take care of it, but you want to be able to see and have a check and balances. They still have to come to you for something. They can't just be completely autonomous or like separate from you.
Exactly.
So as an entrepreneur, as I grow my own business, because I mean, sometimes I think my dreams are a little bit too lofty, but I aspire to hopefully, do what Oprah and Tyler did, building like buildings and studios and employing large amounts of people, right? And with their production companies and stuff like that. I think because I think we need more of us who are not just content creators, but we actually employ content creators, or we have a network, like Oprah has their own network. So like at the end of the day, who is signing all the checks? A black woman is, it's like, because usually I just want to get in that position. So I know in my mind at some point I'm probably going to need a business manager. Would you consider yourself and some of the individuals that teach these classes that you just talked about business managers? Or
So business manager is a very unique term, and it's very specific to the entertainment world.
Okay.
Business managers don't exist outside of LA. Not really. You have your CPAs, you have your financial advisors, you have your lawyers. You don't have business managers. You're the manager of your business. You're the brand. You're the CEO. Everybody else is there to support you. Okay. A financial advisor is completely different than a business manager, and so is a CPA. And honestly, quietly, you don't need a business manager. It's just it's somebody taking some of your money to pay your bills, pay your own bills. Like, we don't get to be that. We don't get, as in my opinion, Black folks, we don't get to do any of that right now. We need to pay attention.
Yes. Agreed. We need to be very aware of what's going on in our surroundings. Very much so. And related back to the subject matter today, I think that we need to be very much. You know what? I felt one of the things. There are a couple of good things, if I may pull them out, through Donald Trump's 4 years in office, that I feel like people have learned. One of them is, I think he taught people about government and how government works.
And who it works for.
I think for the first half, people really learned how important the Congress was.
Yeah.
I mean, so serious. It was like, and then when the midterms came, took over Congress. Yeah. But what did we did? Because we wasn't paying attention. We not usually not paying attention. We just vote the general election. We didn't even vote in local. Yeah. Then we was like, and then I remember after the midterms, he was like, well, the people are spoken because we still have the Senate. And in my mind, I was like, I think we're going to learn another lesson. Yeah. And sure enough, Mitch McConnell learned, y'all ain't doing nothing. Yeah. So what y'all got the Congress? We ain't passing nothing. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And then he got impeached and he was like, we don't care.
I think people are
And I
learning
was
more
like-
about the Supreme Court as well. Because
Yeah,
I'm seeing
that
more like
too.
Supreme Court should not be a lifer type of
Yeah,
opportunity.
and I don't want them. I
either.
want term limits for all of them. Congress,
Everything.
Senate. I
Supreme
need term
Court.
limits. You got to go.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't.
Everything.
You have got to go. And but
Marriages in America, 50% of marriages are end in divorce. Nobody gets that. No, thank you.
yeah, but I like even you said like people learned about the Supreme Court now and how important it is, and how now a lot more people than before are saying what you just said.
Yeah.
They need to be term limited. You got to deal with them forever.
Yeah, ever.
You know, so I think that. That's a really good thing. Like people, and then all of the social unrest, and then Donald. I mean, not for nothing, but the social unrest and the killing of people guys that look like me and in the street, or Breonna Taylor have been going on forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But because of Donald Trump's intense polarization of it just agitated people, made people more angry, and so now people learned about your state attorney general.
Yes.
People are aware, like, oh, who is the attorney? Like, even I'll be honest, okay, I didn't know who it was in California. Now I knew.
Jackie
Oh, I
Mason,
knew.
let's go.
Okay.
I knew. I even found out
Yeah.
that my best friend know her. So I called him
Yeah.
up. I was like, what we gonna do about? Who is that lady? I mean, it happened to be a black woman.
Gotta go.
I was like, it was a black woman. And I was like, so it's a man running against her. I know he Latino because he sent him my name, my full name. If you read it, you would think I was a Latino person. You would think I was Hispanic.
Yeah.
And so I get all types of advertisements or whatever from these local.
Yeah.
They you know how good they are.
What?
They actually have people handwrite like a letter, like your mother or your father. Somebody just write you a letter and write your name, so you will open it because you're like, who is that? Like wrote me a letter, and you open it up. It's all in Spanish. Everything is in Spanish because they think I'm Latino by my name. They're going off my name. So I'm like, oh my God, like. I just throw it in the garbage, but the point I'm making is I knew that it was a Latino man running against her for attorney general, and then because I was aware of that, I was now more aware when those advertisements came on TV, like when his stuff came on. I was like, oh, that's him, you know. And he was saying,
and there was a young lady running too, but she didn't get on the ballot. And now, you know, back in the day, I would have been like, I'm gonna write her in. I'm like, no, ma'am. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to make it next time.
Yes.
I wasn't writing in anybody. I was like, I'm
not
so
one
sorry.
person.
Yeah, I know. It's dire. I'm
so
sorry.
I mean, we still don't have Aisha, correct?
No, she's on. Well, she just called me. Is she not able to get in? Do you guys know if she's able to get in?
We're about to try to bring her in 1 second.
The engineer's trying to pull her in now. Only because I'm about
and they have her number, right?
Yeah, we got her
we
number.
do. She said she's trying to pull her in. So
good.
I brought it up because I'm holding back, but I'm trying to get more into the voting and what's the importance of voting, because I have some scenarios I want to present, and I would like to hear from both of you guys, beautiful young women.
Yeah.
Aisha's on.
Awesome.
Hi, Aisha.
Hi. How are you?
How you doing? Sierra's on too.
Serria.
So, did I mess up her name? I'm sorry, my God. Serria. That's the first time I
Get
messed
my
up.
Sora's name right.
Serria. She's on too as well. Serria, you there?
Oh, you're soror? Oh, what's sorority?
Sigma Gamma Rho.
Oh,
really?
Lord have mercy.
Okay.
The co-executive producer is your soror. So she started doing, I guess, the what is it? The EYIP.
They're called. It's
whatever the call is. So as soon as you said it, she lit up over there. Well, it's nice to meet you, Aisha, and I hope we have Serria still here.
Welcome. I'm Ivana.
Hi, Ivana.
What's going on? How are you holding up to this pandemic?
You know, actually pretty good. Just busy in my business.
Okay.
Unfortunately, crime never goes out of style.
Yeah.
Listen, I have some scenarios, and I would like to hear what your convincing argument would be for a person with that point of view as it relates to voting. Is that cool?
Sure.
So, first one. Well, I'm in California, Actually, someone told me this is literally true.
Mm-hmm.
I should sit on a board for an organization called Reach LA here, right? So I was on the board of directors, and after one of our meetings, it's a LGBTQ organization that supports the African American community with AIDS, HIV education and awareness and stuff like that, right?
Wow.
So, but it just so happened they were having an issue at the time. I haven't been in a while, but with recruiting, with the board of directors being majority white men. So I was, I think, one or two of black men that had were newly on the board, and after the meeting, this happened to be around the time when Hillary was running against. I'm sorry, Barack. So they were in the primaries.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, God, not Barack. Who was she running? Yeah, was it
Hillary
no, not
and
Barack.
Trump?
No, Hillary was running. Anyway, Hillary was running against. Oh no, Bernie. Wasn't she running against Bernie? Am I correct?
Okay, primaries.
The primaries. So they got into a discussion, and I said, "Well, the white male, the guy, he said, well, he was big on Hillary. Hillary, everything is Hillary. He's a Caucasian gay white man. He didn't give a fuck. It was Hillary. So I said, well, I mean, I like Hillary as well.
Yeah.
I said, but I honestly feel that Hillary will still be the status quo for me. Like, I feel like I'm still going to be voting to remain in second or third place constantly. I feel like she's not shaking nothing up.
Fair.
And he said to me, instead of saying, coming to me with what I feel like with a compassionate argument, he said to me something that stuck with me since then. I mean, I think it burned in me for like at least a year.
What
I was so mad. He said, "Oh, you in California, your vote don't matter anyway. Like, you could vote against we're voting for Hillary, and your vote don't matter if you don't vote for her. Like, you don't matter." And it just pissed me off. And in a way, I kind of felt like, dang, my vote kind of don't matter because all these gonna vote for her anyway, and I could not vote for her, so I shouldn't even vote. And I was so angry. I got so angry that I was said, you know what, I should vote for Trump. Fuck him. Even though, but then I said to myself. I said, because I get tired of voting for second place. Even in the LGBTQ community, we vote for second place. That is true, yeah. Oftentimes, I feel like gay white people are really at the core of themselves mad because their straight counterparts stripped away their privilege and they just want their privilege back.
Yes.
Because in the gay community, all that equal rights and all that,
it's a facade.
Flag is all nope. It's the same setup as in the straight world.
Yeah.
White is first. They get all the funding first,
yeah.
and then everything else, and then blacks is at the bottom fighting with the Latinos here in California anyway.
Man.
For who going to be at the bottom and who not.
Yeah.
So at any rate, what would your argument be if for somebody who felt jaded like that and was like, my vote don't matter. I'm in California.
Well, first of all, your vote absolutely matters. but you also have to understand that along with your vote is your voice. And what we often do is we vote and then that's it. So our issues don't get addressed because we don't demand that they get addressed. So I think you have to vote, but you also have to participate in this democracy. You also have to, make your issues known to your local elected officials, show up at your local council meetings, commission meetings. You have to write your elected officials, call them, blog about it, march about it. The reason why, at least, in this election, the Democratic Party is really paying attention to the issues, finally, that matter to Black people around police reform and police brutality and other issues. It wasn't because we voted for the Democrats. We've been voting for Democrats since the 1960s. It's because we took to the streets. It's because we are demanding not just that we have the right to vote, but that our issues are on the table and they're being addressed in a way that we have asked them to be addressed. The only way we do that is by continuing to be active. You can vote for people, but then they go and they are in their own little bubble or cocoon, quite frankly, because that's what happens when your representatives go to Washington. So you elect them in your state, but then they go across the country to serve. What you have to do is ensure that they continue to understand that they're serving you. So marching, protesting, doing all that, you don't allow what I hope to be positive results in this next election stop you from exercising your right to organize. So not just voting, but you have a right to organize. You have the First Amendment right, freedom of speech. You need to use it. And that's what I would say. I think a lot of people get disappointed because their elected official did not vote the way they wanted them to. They did not raise the issues they wanted them to raise. But then the question is, what did you do after the election? Did you just vote for them and say, okay, well, everything should be perfect now? No, this is a participatory democracy, and it requires us all to participate, not just in voting, but after voting as well.
What do you say to the young man or woman or older man or woman that says, you know what, the last 7 general elections were won by the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, all but one were won. All but one of the last 7 were won by Democrats, according to the popular vote.
Right.
So my vote doesn't matter because of this electoral college that they have going on. And isn't everybody vote supposed to count? Isn't the popular vote is really what's supposed to count? Why should I vote?
Well, there is a movement around. Some people believe it's important that the national popular vote look like or that the outcome of the election and the electoral vote is consistent with the national popular vote. But that obviously is not the way that our Constitution is set up. That is not the way that individuals are elected in our presidents are elected. They're elected by the Electoral College. And the members of that Electoral College are apportioned by state based on the size of your state. And it's interesting because some states apportion their members of the Electoral College based on the vote in that state. So let's say 60% of the people voted for, let's say, the Democrat, and 40% voted for the Republican. Well, in some states, because the way in which states apportion their Electoral College is really a state function, that's state law. And so some states will say, okay, well, we'll apportion it. So that means that out of 10, let's say there's 10, then 6 of those members will go to the Democrats if they got 60%, and 4 will go to the Republicans because they got 40%. But most states is winner takes all. So I think there are some questions around whether or not we should do something different with our Electoral College so that it will reflect more of the national popular vote. One of the reasons that there's an argument against that, and I'm not saying I agree with it, I'm just presenting both sides, is that the smaller states, because they are less populated, would not get any real attention from the national parties because everyone would be fighting over the larger state where the population centers are. So there is
in what way do you mean?
So I think that would have to just be addressed if we change the Electoral College.
In what way you mean that they would spend advertising dollars and they would actually go only to those states where the largest population of people were?
Yeah, I think that there's an argument that says that would be the case because if you get more bang for your buck if you're spending in, let's say, the state of California where you all live. I mean, you're kind of like, I can't remember the percentage, but I mean, you would have like maybe 10 plus states would make, you would make up 10 plus states in the United States. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'd rather, so politicians might say, you know what, if I can really grow votes in California, if I can win California big, and if I can turn out voters there big, I don't have to go to these other states. I'm not saying that would happen. I'm just saying that is the argument. So that's something that we'd have to consider because, there are states like, Iowa and Utah and smaller states in our country that deserve and need, support and funding and representation too. So but I in Maryland, like my state's kind of tiny, and it actually my state is a perfect example. We are often overlooked when it comes to national elections because we're a relatively small state. We are reliably blue, so the elected officials on both sides rarely come to Maryland because they often believe that, hey, I got Maryland,
Okay.
or let's say on the Republican side, oh, Maryland doesn't matter to me, and they have so few electoral votes, it doesn't matter anyway.
Because we were just having a conversation too right before you got on about I don't know if you were looking at Texas's electoral stats right now, but it's considered a battleground state or a swing state.
Yes.
And I'm a Texan. I'm from Dallas, and personally, in my experience, it's always been Dallas was always a red state. There were like major cities there that were blue, but because of the Electoral College, it's majority red. So I guess with your expertise, do you view Texas? I don't know if you've been able to look at the numbers like today.
Oh, I have. I've been following.
Yeah. So what are your
Texas,
thoughts on
Georgia,
Texas? Is it a swing state?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just asking, what are your thoughts on Texas? Do you think it's a swing state? Do you think it's a blue state right now, or what are your thoughts?
I definitely think it's a swing state. I think it's definitely a state that the Democrats could pick up because the growth of the minority population is there. And so when you have more Black people moving to Texas and more Latinos moving to Texas or growing their families in Texas, you're going to find that politics will change and shift. And so I'm not surprised that Texas is moving towards a purple state similar to Georgia. I mean, Georgia has always been reliably red for the most part, except I believe that Bill Clinton won Georgia, but then he was also from Arkansas, so it was, neighboring state or close state. Right. So, but, no other Democratic would ever think about trying to win Georgia. But then when Stacey Abrams ran for a governor, and I believe she probably won. Unfortunately, votes were not counted, and other things happened down there. But she got very, very close to becoming the governor of Georgia, and as a result of that, I think our party my party, I don't know what you guys, but the Democratic Party started looking more at Georgia as a place to pick up seats. And that's why both Senate seats are highly contested. And, I think in one seat, which is a seat that is that the incumbent is running against a challenger. In that case, I think the challenger may actually win on election night. There's another race going on. There's for an open seat, and that race has about 20 some people in it, but it looks like the Democrat is favorite to win. Now in Georgia, you have to get over 50% in order to avoid a runoff. So unless the Democratic candidate gets over 50%, then he would have to run in a runoff election in January. But it looks very good that he will at least come out of this election on November 3rd. Probably in first place in that large field. And I think that will give him a lot of momentum going into January. And hopefully there will be another Democratic senator elected at the same time. And because there has been such a large turnout, especially in the Black community in Georgia, it is also likely that the president, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris may come out with the state of Georgia, which would be huge. And I think that's why President Obama was down there earlier today, because it is a winnable state now for the Democrats.
I could see that. Okay.
I have we actually may have a caller calling in with a question. If you don't mind, Aisha, if someone calls, they have a question. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries.
But for now, I did have another scenario. So I believe that a lot of people make just in the communities. I think people make a lot of these decisions about like immigration or things like that. Oftentimes, off of their interactions with those other, whether racial issues and stuff like that, interactions with people in their communities, in and around their communities, right? So it's based on their. So, for example, if for a Latino person, right? If I know some Latino people and they're really nice, they're not racist, they're really nice, and and I know some of them are really struggling, and they happen to be here, quote unquote, illegally, and they have a great relationship with me, and they know some other black men and women who they don't have a problem with, then they're oftentimes not gonna, because we have a lot of voters that vote. I'm sorry, what they cut up their nose to spite their face.
Sure.
They vote against their own interests.
Yes.
So because we have those good relationships, they don't do that. But I also believe the flip side, when they have bad relationships, and I'll give you an example. I use myself as an example of what I witnessed. So I've myself struggled with this because I had a Latino boyfriend. He happened to be racist. That's another story. But I found that out. That's what you get for moving too fast. You jumping in a relationship and don't know nobody.
Yeah.
And you learn them as you're going along. You're like, this motherfucker don't even like black people. But anyway, he didn't. So at any rate, just interacting with his friends, and majority of them were Latino and white. They were very racist, and against blacks. And then when even my partner at the time, he works for the county, right? And so he sees a lot of people who are downtrodden in life, and they need some assistance because he work and when you go apply for EBT or whatever it is, he's one of those people. So to see you, so he said things to me like he believes them, like in just casual conversation that would shock me. He said, "Oh, the black people always coming in there, they like looking for a hand." And I said, "What?" I said,
he just said that.
And he said, "I said, so what about the Latinos?" Like, "Oh, the Latinos, they hard working. They just come in there because they need some." And I was just like, "Wow, like that's how you view the black people that come into the office." I said, "Do you realize every person that you see that comes in there is struggling and needs assistance? That's why they're there." So anyway, I told him, I said, "But anyway, those type of interactions, I got very bitter at that time, right? Because I felt, I lived with a racist, all his friends, and
and y'all lived together?
Yeah, we lived together.
Ooh.
So that's why anyway, long story. So let me get to the point, because we have a caller. The point is, I used to tell him, I was like, listen, the things you say, that's why people vote against their own interests, because I ain't gonna lie, like the way you talk about, you hold people here illegally, like some of his friends there got 2 and 3 DUIs and they are illegal. And I'm like, how you get 2 or 3 DUIs and you illegal? I don't understand it. So I'm like, and you still here. So I'm like, but they nothing's wrong with them because they're Latino, but them black, they just want to live off the system. And I'm like, wow. I said, that pisses me off, and it makes me be like, yeah, I want Trump to get y'all motherfuckers out of here. Like, I was like, you are making my heart filled with hate. And I said, and I know it got to be some other people that think like that. So I went to real quick, I went to the gas station, and I kid you not, it was a black lady. She had an SUV, and when I pulled up, she was gassing up her tank. And she had came out the store, and so I went in the store because I usually only go in the store because I want to get a honey bun or something, something to snack on. So I went in there, and I guess she had to come in there, I don't know, to pay or finish up what she's doing. And it was an older Asian man that was behind the plated glass. And I don't know, something must have happened before I got there. And she said something, you very disrespectful. He said, you got it, nigga. And she said, you know what? I swear to God, I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump. I need y'all motherfuckers to get out of here. Y'all making my life worse. You gotta go. And I was just thinking, I said, oh my God, that is exactly what I tell my then boyfriend every day. I was like, y'all so disrespectful. People think about their daily lives. Is my life better for you being here? Hell no. Then I'm voting against y'all. Get these motherfuckers. They're not supposed to be here. People start, and then it's so at any rate, what do you say to people in those just for the record, I voted for Hillary last time and I voted for Biden this time because I want to save my soul. I'm not trying to be sucked up by evil and the devil.
But it does become.
But what do you think about that? And those, because there are people who voted who cut off their nose despite their face because community, and people, I feel like it needs to start in the community when people start showing people more respect and courtesy, because that's where the root of all the things that the Republicans spit out there, where people will latch on. It's like, yeah, get these people out of America, USA, and they start screaming USA and all these crazy things. So that was very long-winded, but what do you think about that?
Well, what I would say is that, Black people have always been the most disrespected people in this country, period. Mm-hmm. And I would say that in also, us, and also the Native Americans. That's what I would say. And so it is not surprising to me that there are people who come here, even though they are, considered less than by certain groups, that they want to be better than the worst. And so they consider Black people the worst. And so it does not surprise me that some of those people get messages about Black people. They want to keep us apart. They want to keep us apart because they understand that between Black people and brown people, people of color, we are the growing majority of people in this country, period. Mm-hmm. And so understand that a lot of the messaging that they are getting is messaging to keep us apart. Mm-hmm. And what happens is people often vote their racism. And that's what Donald Trump understood. And that's why he really thrives on racism. He thrives on, pitting groups against each other, because he understands that at the core of many people, unfortunately, they just want to feel like they're better than somebody else. And we can't play into that. Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that our brown brothers and sisters don't get fed and play into that either, because as bad as they are told that we are, there is no interest in the Republican Party and those white racists to in any way empower the Latino community and other communities of color, because what they fear most is that we will come together. So my position on that is that, find ways of trying to collaborate with those brown brothers and sisters, because I think the majority are actually really good people. Once we can connect with each other, we're good. We vote in blocks together. We win races together. That's exactly why someone like Barack Obama became the president of the United States. See, they understand the power of us coming together, and they're trying to keep us apart, but we can't let that happen.
Okay. So we do have a caller really quickly, and that'll be the one call that we'll take for the evening, and then we're going to close it out. So caller, are you there? Please state your name and say hello to Aisha, Braveboy.
Yes. Hello. How are you guys doing this evening? I am Shaded here from Los Angeles.
Hi. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Comedic Mines. You have a question for Aisha, Braveboy?
Yes, well, I want to say hello to everybody. Great show. Also, Ivana, shout out to you on that cameo on Insecure.
Oh,
I saw you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Never. She didn't even tell me.
Valentine, what?
She didn't even tell me. I know Shaded. Okay, Aisha, what's your question? I'm sorry.
But yes, hello to you too, Aisha, as well. I was getting to you last. You're the special guest. So, I kind of had two questions. Actually, can you kind of briefly break down, because I have an idea, and I feel like a lot of people kind of have an idea about what the Electoral College is and what it's all about, like what that actually is. And then also a really good question, because I was having this conversation with someone as well, is how can we really get accurate information as far as the counting of votes and what has actually been counted so far, what ballots have potentially been sent back because they weren't filled out properly. How do we get that accurate information?
Well, let me start with the first or the second question first. So every state has a board of elections, and that board of elections is responsible for ensuring that every single vote is counted. Now, sometimes there are ballots that are rejected because someone may circle, depending on your system of voting, they may circle or select more than one candidate. And so that for a particular office, and that would automatically that ballot would likely not be counted. So that ballot would be put in a separate ballots that are not counted the day of, because there are issues with those ballots. And then each of those ballots, at least the way we do it in Maryland, and I don't know how they do it in California, but each of those contested ballots, or those ballots that are not counted on election night because of issues, are surveyed by the Board of Elections. Either they're appointed or they're elected, or however your Board of Elections is made up. But they'll actually look at each of those ballots and determine whether or not they should be counted or not. And so oftentimes most ballots are counted in an election, but each of the candidates have a right to have someone in the room when those ballots that are being counted are counted, and the ones that are being rejected are put to the side and reviewed maybe the following day or the following week, however your state does it. But most of the ballots are counted on the night of, in this case, it'll be November 3rd. They're counted that night. Now, in Maryland, and I don't know if you all had this in California, but if you voted early, we had a tracking mechanism where you could actually go and track your vote on your ballot online. So I know as of today, my ballot has been received by the Board of Elections, and it'll be counted tomorrow. And then I'll get an update saying that my ballot was counted. Okay. So that's how, at least that's how I know that, my ballot is going to be counted. Knock on wood. I don't think I made any mistakes. So my ballot should be counted. And so that's a way of checking to make sure.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks to Shrouded for calling in. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this evening. Aisha, I want to say thank you so much. You're on the East Coast, right? East Coast time?
Yes, and it is midnight here, and I've got to be up early for the polls tomorrow.
Oh my goodness!
So we're gonna let you go. Thank you so much.
That was
a wealth of knowledge.
You. Yes, you and Serria, you are awesome, and hopefully we have you back. On another episode.
Serria, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Yes. I really appreciate you, Miss Braveboy. I love your last name too.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. All right, so we want to close it out. Just everybody, please. You want to close? Everybody, remember to vote. Wear a condom and vote.
Wear a condom and vote, please. And don't forget to get a COVID test if you haven't had one this whole fucking pandemic. Please get tested. Also, thanks again for visiting us. It's every Monday at 8. We have one more show that's going to be next week, so we hope to see y'all again. Please tune in live. So again, it's going to be Monday, 8 p.m. Crucial Conversations TV. On YouTube, please like, comment, share, subscribe. This has been another episode of Comedic Mines Podcast. I am Ivana.
I'm Valentine.
And we'll holla at you later.
Peace.